สวัสดีค่ะ
Good morning and welcome to Morning Focus. I'm Pichai Chunsuk-Sawat.
And I am Pachari Raksa Wong. Now, one united front for democracy against a dictatorship leader yesterday turned himself into authorities and has urged his fellow red shirts on the run to do the same.
Meanwhile, authorities are going to seek the indictment against the People's Alliance for Democracy and its leaders and supporters for this laying siege to Parliament and Government House during protests in 2008.
And Puea Thai Party yesterday voiced opposition to the setting up of a committee to examine its documents and materials to be used in the upcoming censure debate.
Meanwhile, Kumpachari, prices of consumer goods are likely to soar quite considerably once the Commerce Ministry's price control ends at the end of this month. And we'll have more details after this break.
Welcome back, and let's go straight to the main headlines. And today we'll start with Mati Chon. It says there, Mark Army confronts 500,000 red shirt protesters in their planned rally tomorrow. Now, authorities set up a 24-hour war room committed to handle the protesters, and Puea Thai Party boycotts 3 draft bills governing public protests sponsored by the ruling Democrats. And the opposition claims the government-sponsored bills were intended to curb civil rights and freedom of expression.
Right. Meanwhile, Daily News and many other Thai papers ran the story about the Forbes list of billionaires, in which three Thais were named on the list. CP Group's Thanin Jiravanon was ranked 152nd, followed by Red Bull or Krating Dang owner Chiliao Yu Withia ranked at Watana Pakdi, the owner of Bia Chang, made 247th ranked. While the number 1 on Forbes' list is the Mexican Carlos Slim Helu, who a communications giant who has held the rank of number 1 for the past 2 years, and he's worth $74 billion. Meanwhile, Bill Gates, the owner of Microsoft, dropped down to number 2 at 52 billion kumpachri. I think he donated a lot of money.
He did.
So from, I guess, the wealthy list, we have not so good news for consumers coming up.
That is right. That's rising product prices, and we talked about that yesterday as well, because the prices of many food and consumer goods are set to skyrocket, and that's going to happen at the end of this month. And it's expected to happen in line with the scrapping of price controls between manufacturers and the Commerce Ministry, which will take effect also at the end of this month. And this means it will cost a lot more for people to buy many products. For example, we're looking at fertilizers, pharmaceutical products, detergent and soap as well.
Right. Now, the Federation of Thai Industries said yesterday that the prices of food products will also soar between 10 to 15% over prices last year. The Federation said that manufacturers of at least 10 food products will raise their retail prices soon to offset higher costs, which is basically from higher fuel prices, raw materials, and increased labor costs. Altogether, this has pushed up the cost to about 10%. Now, other items, particular items which will increase in prices, are instant noodles, canned fish, milk, and soft drinks, kumpachari.
Everyday goods.
That's right. Things you really need every day to consume.
Now, the FDA suggested that authorities allow prices of goods to just go up, as attempts to cap prices might discourage manufacturers, which in turn would then lead to a shortage of products similar to what recently happened with cooking oil. And the FDI urged the government to try to put a stop to food prices rising before the problem blows up into a major political issue. And meanwhile, cement manufacturers yesterday also pleaded for authorities to allow them to increase their prices, even though cement prices are still subjected to price controls. Right. And you'll have more details.
That's right, Kumpachri. The Thai Cement Manufacturers Association said that the prices of cement is likely to increase considerably because of oil prices. That has increased. Now, that means that, with oil prices increasing, oil prices constitute 70% of cement production costs. Now, the price of cement has been pegged at 110 baht per 50-kilogram bag for the past 10 years. And the manufacturers have suggested that the prices should be dictated by the market rather than the government keeping a lid on it. Now, Commerce Minister Phontiwa Nakasai yesterday said that the prices of about 200 products under the ministry's control would have to increase because of increasing costs of raw materials. Now, the increases would be considered, she said, on a case-by-case basis, and manufacturers would have to prove and have solid reasons to support their requests. She also said that the price of products made of rubber and plastics will increase because in line with the increasing raw materials such as oil and rubber prices.
And academics believe that the government should allow product prices to increase, especially after adjusting diesel prices. The government should explain to the public that goods prices have to rise because of higher production costs. And it should also work with the provincial administrations to try to help cushion the impact on the people by creating more jobs for them. And although price controls will come off this month, a survey yesterday at Rath Fresh Market found that the prices of several items, both on and off the price-capped list, have been on the rise for some time now. Vendors said that the price of beef rose last month by 30 baht a kilogram to 150 baht, while the price of pork went up by 20 baht to 120 baht a kilogram. And a can of sweetened condensed milk now costs 2 baht more at 22 baht, while the price of a dish of fried rice or a bowl of noodles, perhaps that went up by an extra 5 baht.
Right. Now, vendors at Tewet said that they, the prices, the market prices should, market forces should be the mainstay of the increases, right? Not put a lid on it, because once you have a lid on prices, that forces hoarding. When hoarding occurs, that causes shortages, and in the end, you get higher prices anyhow. We move on to our next topic, which is politics.
Yes, that's correct. It's over to the surrender of red shirt leader here, the United Front for Democracy Against Dictatorship leader Adison Piangket. Yesterday, he's turned himself in to authorities and has urged his fellow red shirts currently on the run to do the same. And the DSI said the red shirt leader had contacted them earlier and expressed his intention to surrender. And he met with DSI to acknowledge and deny charges of terrorism and other alleged offences, and was later released on 600,000 baht bail. DSI Chief Tarit Pengdit said that since Adison had turned himself in, the DSI has agreed to grant him bail on the same conditions that the criminal court had set for the bail of the other red shirt leaders. And he is prohibited from instigating unrest and acts of disobedience or any wrongdoing among the public, and he's also barred from leaving the country.
Right. Kun Adison said, Kun Pachari, that he fled because, very simply, he didn't want to go to jail. And he's given himself up and surrendered himself to police because he thinks that the current situation has improved and there's reconciliation in the air. He also called on other leaders, red shirt leaders who are in hiding, to give themselves up, and he urged all parties to take a step back and to shake hands and to reconcile. Meanwhile, there have been reports that another red shirt leader, Ari Grainara, is likely to give himself up to police this morning at 9 a.m. And some Thai newspapers have been reporting that there are other prominent red shirt leaders may do so same as well. Most prominently, of course, is Arisman Pongreungrong. But we'll wait to see what happens on that score.
Right. And now from reds to the yellow side.
They're getting indictments as well.
Police have brought formal charges against leaders and supporters of the People's Alliance for Democracy in connection with the sieges of Parliament and the Government House in 2008. Metropolitan Police Bureau yesterday handed in its investigation reports along with recommendations for indictment against the yellow shirts in 4 separate lawsuits to the Office of the Attorney General.
Right. In the first case, investigators have accused PAD leader Sontit Lim Tongkun and 20 other PAD leaders and supporters for using force to instigate public disturbances when they led protesters to lay siege on Parliament between October the 5th and 7th in 2008. In the second case, Dusit District Police Station have recommended that legal action be taken against 6 PAD leaders, including Major General Jamlong Si Mueang and Kun Sontit, for leading protesters and supporters to surround Government House between August the 26th to the 31st in 2008. In the third and fourth case, police have recommended that Kun Sontit be indicted in 2 defamation charges for accusing Puea Thai de facto leader Newin Chitchop of being involved in corruption and accusing former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra of corruption and tax evasion.
Meanwhile, the authorities will ask the Thai Patriots Network and the PAD protesters to leave the areas on Ratchadamnern Nok Avenue and Pisanulok Road that they have been occupying to make way for the annual Red Cross Fair, which will begin on March the 15th. Now, the police have also threatened to take legal action against them if they refuse to leave the areas there.
That's right. We move on to next week is censure debate time.
Yes.
And of course, there's controversy again, this time from the Puea Thai party listed leader, Jatuporn Prompan, yesterday voiced his objection to the setting up of a committee to examine documents and related materials, including video clips to be used in the upcoming censure debate. Now, Kun Jatuporn said he disagreed with the committee's component also, particularly the inclusion and the appointment of Democrat MP City Chok So Pa on the committee. This is nothing new, and he's also claimed that prejudging the materials would put the opposition at a disadvantage. Kun Jatuporn said that one of the main things that he will be showing is clips featuring the arson at Central World in the upcoming debate, and to show exactly what happened yesterday. And he warned that the government to be prepared to answer questions from the opposition.
Democrat MP for Pisanulok Warong Det-Kit Wirom, a member of the government whip, assured that the committee would prevent any attempt to distort evidence. He said the House Speaker has approved the proposed committee to examine materials to be used in the debate. And while the opposition may disagree with the proposal, but the House Speaker is authorized to make decisions on the matter. And meanwhile, House Speaker Chai Chit-chop yesterday said he had no objections to the censure debate being extended from 3 to 4 days from March the 15th up until March the 18th, with a vote that will happen on March the 19th.
So we have political temperatures rising, red shirt leaders giving themselves up, protests this weekend with the censure debate next week. Let's move on to something a little lighter, I guess, and something heartwarming. The one-armed guitarist now, there's a new internet star which has emerged, and his name is Somsak Hemran. He's 29. He's disabled, and he's known by the internet community as the one-hand guitarist. Now, Kun Somsak's left arm has been paralyzed following an accident, but he continues to do what he loves most, and that's to play music with his guitar.
Correct, and he entered the Thailand's Got Talent earlier this week, and he impressed the judges and the audience with his skills. And some people even got tearful among the audience and admire him very much for his determination as he is continuing to play the guitar with his right hand. And his clips that are on YouTube have had more than 100,000 clicks.
That's really
impressive, isn't it?
Yes,
yes.
We move on to our cartoon.
To wrap things up for today, it's coming from Rath, and the first man tells his friend that U.S. Army owns stealth jet fighters that cannot be detected by radars.
And to that his friend replied, that's not impressive because Thailand has its own stealth weapons as well, such as the stealth arms and soldiers who have gone off the radar and can't be found. And what are they talking about, Kumpachari?
The stolen arms by suspected troops. We don't know what happened to them. We don't know who did it, and they're off the radar.
Right. And that's all we have for Morning Focus this week. Please stay tuned, and if you can update all our clips on our website.
That's right.
Morning Focus at postnews.co.th.
That's our email address.
That's right.
Please leave your suggestions and your comments regarding our program there at our email address. And you can also catch a rerun of our program online. Just go to bangkokpost.com and click on multimedia.
That's right. But stay tuned next week because there's a lot that's going to be happening this weekend. As we mentioned earlier, there's the red shirt protests. On March the 15th, the police have said they're going to clear the yellow shirt protests.
Yes, to make way for the Red Cross Fair.
And also, there's the censure debate starting next week, which will last all week until the voting on the weekend.
A lot will probably have to be said from those meeting rooms.
And it's a prelude, basically, to the election that's looming.
That's right.
And with that, we go over